Okay, so since you had a sub today, I wanted to go over chapter 10.5 one more time with you just to make sure that you really understand how to convert, compare, and contrast metric units. Okay, so once again, this is chapter 10.5, all about metric measures. Your learning goal is to be able to compare, contrast, and convert metric units. You should have talked about the problem of the day today in class. So I want you to go back and look over your notes and remember how you can figure out how many ounces of oats Mr. Reynolds used. We should remember that there are 16 ounces in 1 pound. So if Mr. Reynolds used 2 pounds, then he used 2 times 16 or 32 ounces of oats. Okay, now moving on to the metric system. We've spent all of last week talking about the customary system of measurement, and today we are going to be talking about the metric units, okay? There are 3 basic units in the metric system: the meter, the liter, and the gram, okay? Meter measures length. Liters measure capacity or volume, and finally grams measures weight. Okay, you might remember that in science, we always use metric units. So, for example, in science, when we were measuring volume, we use liters or milliliters. When we are measuring weight, we use grams. When we're measuring length of things in science, we use meters. Now, the metric system is nice because no matter if you're talking about weight, length, or capacity, no matter what you're measuring, you always have the same prefixes. And prefixes are very important in the metric system. The metric system is based on place value, okay? So each unit is related to the next largest or the next smallest unit by a power of 10. So you should have written down this chart in your notebook today. If you didn't get a chance to copy it in class, I want you to please take a moment right now to write down this chart. This chart shows all the different prefixes that you might encounter when working with the metric system. Over here, kilo, this is the biggest size, and over here, milli is the smallest. And all of these prefixes, kilo, hecto, deca, deci, centi, and milli, they're all prefixes that go before these basic units that we just went over. Okay, so for example, you can have kilometer, or you can have hectometer, or you can have millimeter, or you can have decagram or centigram, etc. Okay? Now, each one is related to the next smallest one by a power of 10. So kilos are 10 times bigger than hectograms, or hectos. Hectoliters would be 10 times greater than a decagram. Does that make sense? Good. Now, using what we know about how these prefixes are related, we can solve a problem like this one. Using a map, Alex estimates the distance between his house and his grandparents' house to be about 15,000 meters. About how many kilometers away from his grandparents' house does Alex live? So we know it's 15,000 meters, but we want to figure out how many kilometers that is. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is find the relationship between these units. Here in the chart, we see that meters are right here, and kilometers are over here. That's 3 spots away. So meters are 3 powers of 10 smaller than kilometers. Therefore, there are 10 to the third power, or 1,000 meters in 1 kilometer. For step 2, we need to determine the operation that we need to use. Since we're converting from meters to kilometers, we are converting from a smaller unit to a larger unit. So you need to get the number to be smaller. So you need to divide, right? Because when you're going from a smaller unit, you'll have more of them. But when you're talking about a larger unit, you have less. So therefore, we can move on to step 3, which is to convert. We know that, once again, that we have 15,000 meters. We need to divide that by the number of meters in 1 kilometer, which, as we've looked at the chart, and we saw that was 10 to the power of 3, because it was 3 spots away. That's 1,000 meters in 1 kilometer. So when we do 15,000 divided by 1,000, we get 15. And that number is the number of kilometers. So Alex's house is 15 kilometers from his grandparents' house. Another way to say this is that 15,000 meters is equivalent or equal to 15 kilometers. Okay, and those are the abbreviations for those units. Another way to think about this is to use a diagram. Okay, let's look at this problem. It says Jamie made a bracelet that's 1.8 decimeters long. Okay, looking at our chart right away, we can see that a decimeter is smaller than a meter. And since it's only one spot away, we know that it's 10 times smaller. It's smaller by 1 power of 10. The question is asking, how many millimeters long is Jamie's bracelet? So right now we're at the deci level, and we want to move 2 spots over to the right. That means it's 2 powers of 10 smaller since we're moving to the right. Step 1, we show 1.8 decimeters. We know we have 1 and then 0.8 decimeters. That's why 1.8 is written over the columns that it is. Since the unit is in decimeters, place the decimal point so that decimeters are the whole number unit. Okay. Number 2, we would convert. We cross out the decimal point. I'll do this in black. Cross out the decimal point and rewrite it so that millimeters will be the whole number unit. Okay, we want the decimal point to end up here, right? If millimeters are going to be the new whole number unit. We have a blank space, so we need to write a 0 there to fill in blank spaces in order to make a whole number. Now our new value is 180. So we can know for a fact that 1.8 decimeters is equivalent or equal to 180 millimeters. Therefore, Jamie's bracelet is 180 millimeters long. Here's another practice problem. It's asking us to convert 247 milligrams to centigrams, decigrams, and grams. Now, first we have to figure out, are we converting them to a larger unit or a smaller unit? Well, we know that centigrams, decigrams, and grams are bigger than milligrams, so we are converting to a larger unit. When we are converting to a larger unit, we must divide in order to convert. Okay. Now, if looking back at our chart, if you go back to your notebook and look at your chart, you can see how many powers of 10 you need to multiply or divide, in this case, you need to divide by in order to find the centigrams, the decigrams, and the grams. So looking at this chart, we're now at milligrams, right? We're at this level right here. And we want to first change it to centigrams. So that's only one spot to the left, which means it's 1 power of 10 larger. So I need to divide 247 divided by 10. Actually, hang on. Oops, hold on one second. Here we go. 247 divided by 10. We know that when we divide by 10, all we need to do is move the decimal point 1 spot to the left. So filling in the chart here, we know 247 divided by 10 is going to equal 24.7. Next, converting it from milligrams over to decigrams, we have to move 2 powers of 10. So we have to divide 247 divided by 10 to the power of 2, which of course is 100. So we are doing 247 divided by 100. In this case, we know we have to move it 2 spots over to the left, the decimal point that is, so that would be 2.47 decigrams. Finally, in order to move from milligrams to 1, 2, 3 to regular grams, we're dividing it by 10 to the power of 3. So it's 247 divided by 10 to the power of 3, or 1,000. In this case, we have to move it 1, 2, 3 spots over to the left, which would be 0.247 grams. This practice problem asks us to convert 3.9 hectoliters, which is right here on the chart, hecto, to decaliters, liters, regular liters right here, and deciliters. You can see from the chart we're moving towards the right, which means we are being converted to a smaller unit. And when that happens, in order to convert from a larger unit to a smaller unit, you multiply by powers of 10. Okay, we can see here, to move from hecto to deca, we have to multiply by 10 to the power of 1 power of 10, which would be 39. To get to the liter, we have to multiply it by 100, or 10 to the power of 2, because we're moving 2 spots over, which would be 390. And then finally, to get to deci, we have to move 3 spots over, or 10 to the power of 3, which would be 3,000 900. Okay, I hope this video helped to clear up some of your understanding about how metric units work. Remember that the prefixes are very important. In fact, remembering the orders of the prefixes is kind of the key to comparing, converting, and contrasting metric units of measurement. All right, hope this helps. Good luck with your homework.